roller derby action once again from the Civic Center over the special Midwest Pioneer Roller Derby Network. Your own Midwest Pioneers face the challenge of the Jolters in excitement on the bank track. How you doing, everybody? From the Civic Center, this is Chet Kopic, and we've got it going once again here at the Civic Center. The Pioneers and Jolters, the Pioneers, of course, led by Joan Weston, the Golden Girl, and Ronnie Robinson, the venerable skating son of Sugar Ray. The Jolters led by Jan Vallow and their brawny captain, Cal Stevens. And what we're looking for tonight is the unveiling of Aloha Linda Villanueva, the 220-pound Samoan skating sensation who Buddy Atkinson says he's going to let the reins off of in this game. All right, back we are, just half-wheelers on the bank track here at the Civic Center. First period of play, first half, as in roller derby, and down goes the Golden Girl, Joan Weston. Compliments of Jan Vallow, and there you see Jan, who slimmed down quite a bit, in discussion with the former great skating star, a man now working out of the strike position, Lou Donovan, with a Fu Manchu mustache this evening. 5:36 left here in period number one. There is Buddy Atkinson, moving out of your picture, wearing jersey number 50, number he wore from time to time during his skating career. Buddy, of course, is back in the Midwest this season, coaching these Pioneers. He has his sights set on a Gold Cup. He wants to bring a championship to Chicago and the entire Midwestern area. Right now, he will field 59 Weston, 55 Francine Koshu, 53 the Ice Cream Kid, Sherry Eric, and 57, get ready, the Hawaiian Punch, 220 pounds of Samoan spunk, Aloha Linda Villanueva. Right now, Pioneers need 3 points. Jolters 7, the Midwest Pioneers 4. Under 5 minutes to play in period number one. Off the whip from Koshu. Here comes Sherry, and down. Mango, go 3 skaters. Eric out and moving. Weston, along with teammate Koshu and Lewis, holding up the pack. Pioneers with the only scoring threat at this moment. There you see little Sherry from Stockton, California. We call her the Ice Cream Kid, set to come into her own. About 40 seconds of time, and Weston. Down goes Vallow in the infield. Pioneers on the scoreboard. And the audience responds. Up goes the arm. Championship time. Pioneers with an ace. The margin has been cut. The Jolters 7 and the Midwest Pioneers 5. Talking once again about Buddy Atkinson Sr., you know, you could just about go on forever. We could spend telecast time from now until doomsday talking about the tremendous influence this man. There you see him right there with a somewhat bemused expression, talking about all the talent, people like Ronnie Robinson. Just prior to this game, I was talking with Joni Weston. Joni, of course, a product of the Weston, or rather the Atkinson School of Skating. Sherry Eric, moving down in the infield, seems to be troubled by some type of injury. She has had a problem with her legs from time to time, but she's young and she's tough, and she has got the resiliency. Down is a Jolter skater, out and moving. The Pioneers with a double threat. Number 50, the little girl, 1973 Eastern Season Rookie of the Year, is Dolores Roberson. There you see Weston. Look at Koshu and Rose Duran going at it at the back of that pack. Pioneers once again, second jam in a row, the only scoring threat. Both squads, full strength, 5 and 5, and down goes Dolores. Look at Vallow, got the helmet on. She's big, she is physical. Jersey number 8. Blue and brown if you're watching in color. Down again goes Roberson. Pioneers doing a good job of holding action to a standstill up front in the pack. 2:48 left here in period number one. I'm Chet Kopic. This is the color of roller derby. Look at Atkinson yell out the encouragement. Here comes the Aloha Spunk. Getting set with Vallow. Look at number 57. Title bound for the Pioneers. Off the whip, set it up, down she goes. And the Pioneers are on the scoreboard. Vallow made to look bad on that play. Buddy Atkinson moves over to step between the rival skaters before they have the opportunity to let things get out of hand. So the margin has been cut once again. The Pioneers have got themselves on the scoreboard. Both clubs, so far in the early going, willing to take their offensive chances. One Pioneer point is Lou Donovan. Lou Donovan moves in between Cal Stevens and Joan Weston. Vallow looking to the big 225-pound coach, number 8, Cal Stevens, a one-time most valuable skater in this league. This game being refereed by Chris Ortiz at the bottom of your picture, and by Lou Donovan. The Pioneers and the Jolters. Weston leads out the locomotive. No penalties yet in this game. The Jolters feeding 8, Vallow. 7 is Noreen Gallagher. 6 is Claudia Habdi. 5 is Catherine Shaw. 4 is Rose Duran, the second leading scorer in the IRDL in the 1973 Eastern season. Setting it up. No skaters out yet. Here comes Sherry. She's back and moving again off that injury. Claudia Hadby joining her for the Jolters. 2 skaters, both can fly. 1 threat on each side. 1:13 left here in period number 1. The guys come on for number 2. An elbow. Now the forearm. Eric trying to maintain. No, she can't. She's on the railing. But she doesn't get a taste of that basketball floor. And Vallow comes in for just a little bit of extra treatment. Weston glares at her. Joan Weston, the intimidator, the policeman. That's her job on this Pioneer club. That's the way Atkinson wants her to work. Joni screaming at her Pioneer teammates. There she moves into your picture. Sets up with an elbow. Crunch. And down goes Claudia Hadby. Joni Weston, the Golden Girl, the blonde Amazon. Pioneers slowing it down. They have no scoring threat on this play. They've got to play defense. Civic Center crowd picks up the noise. Down again. Bango. Hadby on her backside. Bobby Hine, 5-7, yelling out the encouragement. Weston again, 3 times. Jolters, they get a point in this play. They're going to earn it. Nothing. She's down for a 4th. Atkinson yelling the encouragement. Again, make it 5. This jam is history. And there's nothing you can say about Joan Weston that hasn't been said before. That's the end of number 1. End of 12 minutes with the score. The Jolters 7 and the Midwest Pioneers 6. Let's pause for this timeout. Back we are, Chet Kopic in the Civic Center. And don't forget, following 2, 3, and 4, it's halftime. We'll be talking to some of your favorite skaters. Maybe a coach who knows. Stay with us right here on the Midwest Pioneer World Navy Network. And here we go in number 2. The men move out. They start to get physical right off the top. Number 7 is JoJo Stafford for the Jolters. Got himself a goatee. Number 4 is Mike Moore. We're going to have 3 scoring threats in this play. Here comes the bald eagle. Here comes Bob Hine. Up, down. He moves on through. Pioneers with a skating edge. Come on, Bobby. Here he goes. 5-7. Red numerals on the back of that gold Pioneer jersey. We have some new colors this season for the Midwest Pioneers. They're talking new colors and they're talking championship. Hine moves around and through. Here comes the skating son of Sugar Ray with the elbow. Skopas maintains, loses that skating advantage, and he's got to regroup. He moves back in the pack and now goes to work on Johnny Rice. There you see it. Smith, Hine, and Hill will try to work to slow down that pack. Cattell back at the back of the pack for the Jolters, sporting the pivot habit. He will block along with teammate Stevens on Ronnie Robinson. 7-7, we have ourselves a tie game. Robinson set to move into your picture. Here he comes. He tries once, nothing. Here comes Skopas. He moves up backside. He's now a good scoring threat. Or check me on that. Nick, of course, has got the block on this play. He was not out moving in the pack, and he's going to be called for a penalty. Skopas working on the man he once coached on this Pioneer team. A couple of guys who were great friends. There you see him, the mustachioed Nick Skopas. He's going to move into the penalty box. There will be 1 Pioneer point on that play as a result of the penalty to Nick Skopas. Here comes Ronnie Robinson after Skopas. And Lou Donovan wisely steps in as Ronnie Robinson and Nick Scopus waste little time getting themselves a feud going on here in the Civic Center. What a great offensive and defensive combination those two guys were on the Midwest Pioneers, but now it's an entirely different story. Scopus is what the Jolters were looking for. The Jolters are big and physical. You have to work for every point you get against this club. They needed speed. They needed scoring. They got that in the personage of Nick Scopus. Out of the pivot. Leading him out. Here comes the whip. Here comes the little guy, Bobby V. Bobby Van Kampen, 5'3", on the back of that Pioneer gold jersey. Sometimes they'll wear gold. Sometimes they'll wear red. Sometimes they'll wear the old red, white, and blue. We'll talk more about that later on. Out and moving. A rival skater is number 4, Mike Moore. 1-on-1, one scoring threat on each side. 8:20 left in number 2. Pioneers up by an ace. 8-7. Lots of time to go. You'll see a second half all along the network. Stevens takes his lick. Hine up front. Crunch with the elbow. Now Stevens moves into play a little offense. Now he's got to go back and try some defense. Hine, yeoman work up with the elbows. Going left and going right. 360 inside. Moves Moore. He's on the scoreboard. Looking for more. He moves into the rail. Compliments of Larry Smith. And up front goes Van Kampen. And as this jam concludes, the official decision, as Atkinson and Patel, look at Buddy. Look at Buddy go to work, protecting his Pioneer club. Something that was missing on the Midwest Pioneers the past couple of years is the fact that they basically could be intimidated. Is that they basically were just a little bit capable of being intimidated, but that's not going to happen this year, believe me. Not with Buddy Atkinson Sr. around to lead this club. We've got ourselves a dandy right now, coming up on the 7-minute mark. We're in the Civic Center. The Pioneers and Jolters. Long-time rivals. Stick around. We got plenty more excitement wherever you're watching the great, colorful, and exciting sport of roller derby. The blonde tiger, Jerry Cattell. Look at Hine go to work. Look at Hine go to work. And Chris Ortiz takes a long look, but we have no penalty yet. No penalty yet. This game is going to get physical before it comes to a close. You can bet on that. Hine once again as he bypasses Scopus. Look at Cattell with no helmet and long blonde mane flying in the breeze. Down goes a Pioneer skater. That is Johnny Rice. And out moving is the big guy for the Jolters, Cal Stevens, the 225-pound tight end type, as we continue with that big pack action. When you're out and you're watching fast and exciting roller derby, keep an eye on the pack. That's what it's all about. That's where you have to earn it. It's the land of the giants. Stevens up front and moving, puts the hands on the hips, I believe, just as casual as he can be. And there was a breakdown on that play. Somewhere along the line, the strategy was confused, and the Jolters have moved into a lead. Don't forget, to understand this game better, what you want to do is get yourself a copy of the roller derby rules by writing to Rules, Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. And also, if you'd like to receive advance information about upcoming games in your area, a big schedule wherever you're watching roller derby, write to Mailing List, Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604 on the zip code. Get yourself on both of them. It's the Bible of the business. Get yourself a copy of the rules. Find out what this game is all about. It's a very simple game. You can learn those rules in a matter of no time. On the whip, here comes the big guy, long, lean, and rangy. Charlie Gibson, the windmill guy. He can set up and he can block. Out with little Mike Moore, a big guy against a little guy, but that's the fun of roller derby. People all sizes can compete, and bango! Down goes Moore. Welcome to the pros. As Charlie Gibson is the only scoring threat on this play, the Pioneers, there you see him locking up. Van Kampen and Smith trying to slow things down. That's what it's all about. Now they will play a combination of offense and defense as Gibson moves up pack side and Cal Stevens unloads. Ouch. I'll tell you, when that guy comes up and throws those haymakers, you're going to know it. Now JoJo Stafford moving up pack side. He lands with a knee and down goes Gibson. But Ronnie Robinson is back to block for the Pioneers. We need 4 points. We need 4 points, and right now we have not got things going our way. And here comes Gibson. Here comes Gibson, stymied by Stevens. Ronnie Robinson up front, moving in, and Stevens tries a trip, and down goes Gibson. And look at that. Buddy Atkinson Sr. moves over as Charlie Gibson was unloaded upon by Cal Stevens. Doc Deek, the trackside doctor in this series, moves in for a bit of consultation. We're counting on big things out of this kid. The Pioneers are counting on big things out of this kid Gibson during this season. He has got to come through as a scoring threat for this club if we're going to win big. If the Pioneers are going to win a title, people like Gibson and Rice and Hill, people who don't get all the attention that some of our bigger players have got to come through. Now here comes Skopas. Out and moving for the Jolters is Nick Skopas, number 5. The blue numerals on the black backdrop. Billy Hill, the country boy, the American Pie guy, as they move around the Pioneer turn. Back in the pack, things are slowing down. There we pick up our jammers. Hill moves inside, lands with the elbow. Nothing yet. 3:27 left here in number 2. The girls come back for 3 and the guys for 4. Then we go to the interviews. Now Skopas goes to work as we continue with action in the pack. Down goes Hill. He's got to get up and regain. Ronnie Robinson back to block. Come on, Ronnie. Oh, baby. Look at him turn around and wait. And Stevens bellows in rage at Skopas. Oh, talk about intimidation. Talk about intimidation as Ronnie Robinson turned around, set himself up, put up the arms, and Nick Skopas said, we'll try again next play. So that goes into the books. The result is nothing. The Jolters continue on top at 12-9. Hill takes a rest on the Pines. Van Kampen moves out to replace him. He sports the striped helmet, along with Gibson, the big guy. We'll try to get him out and moving. That's what it's all about. You try to lap skaters in this game. That's how you put points on the scoreboard. And the Jolters move out with the first jammer as we begin counting down the 60 seconds of jam time. And Gibson moves in to join him. The Pioneers waste little time in countering the threat of little Mike Moore. And look at Gibson go to work. Crash with the elbow. He extends that remembrance. Gibson trying to measure his strides as Moore squats low around the Jolter turn and picks up. He misses with the elbow. Pine moving back to block. Down goes Robinson and in goes the little Jolter. Mike Moore, and very wisely, showing experience above and beyond his years, he calls that play off. And the Jolters increase that margin up to 4 points. They have a 13-9 edge as Chris Ortiz waves the skaters back to conclude another jam. We're moving up to the 90-second mark in period number 2. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining here in the second 12-minute stanza. The Midwest Pioneers versus the Jolters as we study Ronnie Robinson, who began his career back in the late 50s. Without even telling his great fighting father, Sugar Ray, that he planned in a career in roller derby, he has established his own identity and then some. Here comes Cal Stevens. He gives the whip to Nick Skopas. Stevens is out and moving, and here comes Johnny Rice. Rice is nice. The little guy, 5'9", with the red numerals on the back of the yellow jersey. And look at Skopas go to work. Ortiz screams at Skopas to stop, and Ronnie Robinson moves in, takes the law into his own hands, and Skopas again says, no, no, no. And look at Hine connect. And here comes Johnny Rice as Cal Stevens and Nick Skopas will now play defense. Stevens sets up and unloads. The Pioneers with a chance to dent the scoreboard. Nobody else to worry about. Stevens again. Come on, Johnny. Ronnie Robinson can do nothing as Skopas steps in between him and the Pioneers around the scoreboard. As Nick Skopas was maneuvered out of position, caught off guard, and the result, 1 Midwest Pioneer point on that play. As we're moving down to the conclusion of number 2 as Skopas goes to work. And then Cal Stevens sets it in. You can bet that the Pioneers are going to have something to say about that as this game moves on. Ronnie Robinson prone on the bank track, and that doesn't happen too often. With the score, the Jolters 13 and the Midwest Pioneers 10. Let's take this timeout. There you see the girls. Chet Kopic back at the Civic Center, and as we finished off in number 2, things began to unload. And there's the primary reason. Nick Skopas, the former Pioneer, who now is a skating member of the Jolters. And the Jolter girls in the track right now. Vallow with the pivot helmet, moving out of the Pioneers, and here comes the big girl, Shoni Weston, the golden girl. 19 times an All-Star, along with Jan Vallow. Here is the classic matchup. This is what we've been waiting for. forearms and the fists. The Pioneers need 3 points. Weston with the forearm. Vallow again. Nobody else out and moving. No secondary jammers on this play. Villanueva back to block for the Pioneers. And she'll also try to help her teammate, the Golden Girl, Joni Weston. Weston and Vallow. Inside goes Vallow. Inside she goes, but good in the result. The result from referee Lou Donovan, 4 Jolter points on that play. So there is work to be done on the Midwest side. Buddy Atkinson Sr. talking with Joan Weston. The Jolters with a 7-point margin. They lead at 17-10. Under 11 minutes to play here in period number 3. And don't forget, wherever you are along this network, Roller Derby is going to be coming to you during this season. Plenty of live games in your area. Get your tickets, get out there and see the sport of the 70s. See what it's all about live. That's where it's really at. You don't know what this sport is all about until you've been out to see it. So get your tickets. The Pioneers, the Jolters, the Chiefs, the Bay Bombers, Charlie O'Connell, Sandy Dunn, Marge Laszlo, Mike Gammon, Judy McGuire, all the great stars. Francine Koshu, Joan Weston, Jan Vallow, Nick Skopas, Ronnie Robinson, they're all coming to your area this season. Get out there and see Roller Derby. Koshu, along with the little girl, Marcia Gibbs for the Jolters, and here comes Rose Duran as action back in the pack, picks up to a frenzy. Duran with a skating edge, the Spanish girl who traces her ancestry back to Mexican descent. And now she is the only scoring threat in this play as Francine Koshu is dumped over the railing. She will go back to block along with the big girl, teammate Joni Weston. The blonde Amazon, Koshu beckons. Look at that Pioneer spirit. Atkinson yells out the encouragement. 9:48 left here in period number 3. Francine connects. Now up front, Gibbs goes to work, but nothing to amount to anything. Koshu again. Down goes Gibbs. Now Weston can set up on his sister teammate, Koshu. Action aplenty back in the pack in the land of the Giants. The girls going at it hot and heavy, and down goes Francine. Look at Gibbs go to work. Now Weston with the elbow. Not much jam time left in this play. And look at Vallow. Joan Weston with the hip fake, and Vallow unloads on her own teammate. Oh, the height of embarrassment for number 8, the girls captain of this Jolter squad. This jam has reached its conclusion, but once again, the Jolters, not your most explicit offensive unit, a club which has to scramble and work hard for all their points, has had some pretty good going here in the early going at the Civic Center, and right now they have an 8-point cushion at 18-10. But of course, you know, as you folks know, who've been following Roller Derby on our telecast now for all these many years, and look at Vallow with the balancing act, and down she goes. Down goes Jan Vallow. If we could look through those bars, you'd see an expression of absolute and complete anger. Terry Lewis is out and moving, along with Claudia Hodby for the Jolters. The Jolter girl wearing jersey number 5, Lewis 51. She is a fly girl. She can move. She's got all the style and all the grace. A couple of youngsters, and there's some great young players coming up in this league this season. You're going to see them all at one time or another, and get out and see them live. Hodby going to work with Lewis, and look at Terry, the Pioneer girl, connecting down. Bango! In the Civic Center goes Hodby. Now the test, and she flunks in the first round as Vallow goes to work. Jan Vallow with a watchful eye on the big pineapple. Big Al, Villanueva, there's got to be a holding penalty on that, Chris Ortiz, and yes, there will be. Jan Vallow is going to move into the booth as this jam continues. Jan Vallow is down and sitting. And there goes the pineapple, Big Al, the Samoan spunk. And she just takes her time and unloads. And believe me, if you've watched Earlene Brown, forget about that cat from Roller Games. She hasn't got 1/10 the speed of this young girl. And boy, is Big Al going to be something as this season moves on. And this jam is now in the book, and the Pioneers cut that margin. The result of really a rather silly penalty on the part of Jan Vallow as Terry Lewis moves back to trackside. She will be credited with 1 point on that play as Jan Vallow picked her up cradle style and dropped her on the basketball floor right here in the Civic Center. Coming up on the 7-minute mark, we're in the third of 4 12-minute first half periods. The Jolters 18, the Midwest Pioneers of Coach Buddy Atkinson Sr. 11. The Pioneers will regroup. Villanueva, 57, leading out the locomotive. Another new girl, 56, Lee Stingone. A young girl out of the training school. Weston, 59, of course. Coach Shu is 55 and 50. 1973 Eastern Season Rookie of the Year, Dolores Roberson, who came to the Pioneers via a trade. We'll have more on Dolores Roberson as this game continues. You're going to be impressed with this girl no end as this season continues. Weston, with the help of Atkinson, has put together the kind of field she wants, and here comes the whip. Crouching low, here comes the little girl out and moving. Oh, baby. Get set. Here come the Fly Girls. Gibbs will join her. The wife of Larry Smith, 5'5", is Francisco Shu. And a good job once again by the rookie Gibbs as she sets it up for Rose Duran. Duran moves inside of the Jolter turn. The Pioneer holding off the challenge of two skaters, and bingo! Baby! Here comes Francine. As the Pioneers will try to slow it down to the pack. Here's the chance we've been waiting for. The Midwest Pioneers need 7 points. Duran, the Mexican girl, back to block, and she connects. Now Gibbs gets her lumps. 5 on 5, we're back at full strength. Vallow is back on the track. Down again goes Koshu. 5:44 left here in number 3. Come on, Francine, get up and move. The Pioneer bench yelling out the encouragement. Atkinson doing a job as he moves from side to side. The 55-year-old coach continues as the Pioneers are now on the scoreboard. Down again, and Duran is down. Time Weston. Now the Pioneers can move on the scoreboard. Again, looking for the harvest. Weston doing yeoman work. Koshu continues, and look at Vallow. Look at Vallow. There's got to be a holding penalty once again. Lou Donovan right on top of it, and the official decision. As Weston is put down via a kick by Rose Duran. There will be 2 Midwest Pioneer points on this play. It's now a 5-point Jolter edge. You know, if you'd like to have a roller derby game scheduled in your area for the benefit of a charitable organization, club, or school, or other worthy nonprofit organization, I tell you, it's something to have if you've never had it before. Write to Bookings, Box 1827, Oakland, California, 94604, and we'll send along further information. You may have scheduled a game in your area. If games are not usually played there during the season, and if you have a local gym, high school, college, or other arena that seats more than 2,500 people, get yourself a live roller derby game. Send that letter along to Bookings. Box 1827, Oakland, California. Let's get one all throughout the Midwest, and for that reason, all throughout the country here during this season. Oh, and the Civic Center begins to come alive with the presence of Joan Weston. And now she's joined by Jan Vallow. One scoring threat each side. Vallow balancing act into the infield. Penalty box time, and down she goes. Weston can take her time. She can set up the offense. She's got the Hawaiian punch. Villanueva up front to block, along with Coach Shu and the Ice Cream Kid Eric and Terry Lewis. As Vallow goes into the lock with Claudia Hotby. Weston tries with the elbows. Nothing. Come on, Joni, set it up as she yells. She yells out instructions to her Pioneer teammates. Weston screaming for the Hawaiian punch, and here comes Villanueva. Get set, we're ready for the eruption. Here comes the punch, Samoan time, on the whip, the blonde-haired girl in and through. Pioneers on the scoreboard with 4 Midwest Pioneer points. And there is a combination. If there is a winning combination around right now that's set to blossom, you just saw it. And there's one half of the reason. As the Pioneers cut that margin down to 1 point at 18-17, Weston uses the experience as Villanueva, the other half of that combination, along with Joni, receives a bit of treatment from Jan Vallow, who's all over the track and always physical. Lover or hater, Jan Vallow can play this game. She has established her reputation. No need for her to rest on her laurels. She continues to get better and better every day. And here comes Aloha with the chase. Villanueva giving chase. As Buddy Atkinson Sr. begins to intercede. As we approach the 2-minute mark here in period number 3, the Jolters 18, the Midwest Pioneers 17. And the fans here in the Civic Center begin to respond. Getting caught up in the color and excitement and the speed and the daring of this great sport. Villanueva, and that's what Buddy Atkinson does so well. He works with the younger skaters. He'll work with Eric, he'll work with Lewis, he'll work with Villanueva. And by the time this season begins to reach its halfway point, or for that reason, the quarter mark of this season, the halfway point, the 3/4 mark, the conclusion, championship time, Buddy Atkinson's going to have his kind of team. And in 70, 71, and 72 at New York, that meant championships for the New York Chiefs. It may mean championships for the Midwest Pioneers during this campaign. And we'll be talking to the venerable number 50, the coach of the Midwest Pioneers, Buddy Atkinson Sr. at halftime of this game. Out and moving with the balancing act, the Canadian Spitfire, Francine Kosciuk. Can she maintain? Yes, she can. And look at that gypsy doodle. Oh, baby. Here comes Kosciuk with Durant. Mango! Down goes the Spanish skater as the Pioneer bench yells out encouragement. Here's another golden opportunity as we come up on the 1 minute mark. There you see Francine around the Pioneer turn. The guys will come out for period number 4. As Durant is regained, moved back into the pack and sets up and begins to wield those elbows. She is tough, baby. Oh, as she come on. Rosie Durant joined by Francine Kosciuk. And up front, Marcia Gibbs, who's been impressive in this game. The young rookie going to work. And now Durant again. As Vallow, the Jolters now back at full strength. Jan Vallow, penalized twice in this half, is now back and moving. Weston out of the pivot with the dark helmet. Gives the right hand to the left hand. Here comes Kosciuk, 360, and in she goes. The Pioneers are on the scoreboard as Durant goes up and over and onto the basketball floor. Francine finally calls it off. With 30 seconds left here in period number 3. And get set. As you look at the scoreboard here in the Civic Center, for the first time in a long time, the Midwest Pioneers have got themselves a lead. It's only 1 point, but a lead is a lead in this business. As Joan Weston at the top of the track, and goes Durant. Weston connects. Joan Weston connects right above the announce table. And look at Jan Vallow go to work. Joan Weston from out of nowhere, from left field, connected with the right hand on Rose Durant, and the Spanish skater was slammed. That's it for number 3-4. Coming up with the interviews. Stick around. With the score, the Midwest Pioneers 19 and the Jolters 18. Let's pause for this timeout. As we study the men, 3 minutes of blazing action have left the Midwest Pioneers on top by an ace in 1918. And the Jolters, I have an idea, will go back to that defensive stance that they are so famous for. Defense is their brand of play. They're aggressive, they're tough, they like to win it in the pits. And the Pioneers with the first jammer out once again, and that's good. Last year we weren't getting the first jammer out, and now we're doing it. And that's what it's all about. That's how the Chiefs won titles, that's how the Bay Bombers won titles, and that's how the Midwest Pioneers are going to win a title. Billy Hill with the beard, the country boy, moving out with Nick Scopus is back in the pack. They continue to lock it up in the land of the Giants. Scopus begins to stride it out as the speed begins to pick up. Atkinson yelling to Billy Hill to call it off. As Scopus moves into the pack, and Scopus, look at Buddy Atkinson. Oh, baby. Talk about the Duke. Oh, brother. Boy, if you had 10 fried eggs in this joint right now, you can splatter them all over Nick Scopus. I hate to say that about Nicky, he was a great guy, but catch this. Buddy Atkinson Sr. yelled at Scopus to call it off, put the hands on the hips, and Scopus fell for it. And the Jolters, who were all set to move in, could have picked themselves up at least a deuce, wind up with nothing. Oh, brother. Nicky, dig a hole, baby. Charlie Chaplin. All right, they stay at 5-on-5, the Pioneers and Jolters. And here comes the big guy, Jake Harris, number 3, out and moving for the Jolters. And the Pioneers counter with Charlie Gibson, long and lanky, equally as physical as Harris, and the little guy, Mike Moore. Balancing act time, can he maintain? No, he can't, and down goes the youthful Pioneer. He'll move back in the pack, and the Jolters have got themselves double dynamite, a double dip, double play time. It's a threat for the visitors. 3 and 4, Harris and Moore respectively. 5-on-5, they're at full and equal strength with 10:15 left in number 4. I'm Chet Kopic, and this is Rollin' to Me. You're watching the sport of the 70s. All along this great Midwest Pioneer Rollin' to Me network, and Gibson gets set to bring it up. Starts cranking up the elbows. There's that windmill block we were talking about. Look at Gibson go to work. Left and right with an 80-inch reach. An 80-inch plus reach. Left, right, Moore staggered. Harris staggered. Can they maintain? Jolters with a golden thread, and so far nothing. Ronnie Robinson yells to his teammates to move along. Gibson continues. Down goes Moore. Atkinson yelling out the encouragement. Again goes Gibson. Down goes the Jolter skater. Again. Oh, bango! As Ronnie Robinson takes chase on Stevens. Down goes a chair in the infield. The two rival captains going at each other. Stevens unloads as Lou Donovan moves in. Hine moves in to protect his teammate. Oh, but the name of that play as we study the Pioneers en masse, as Jerry Cattell now goes to work on Gibson, the man with those devastating windmill blocks. Oh, baby. I'll tell you something, that cap when he winds up with that 80-inch reach is absolutely devastating. If you'd like to become a professional roller derby skater like Bob Hine and Jerry Cattell, Hine, right hand, Cattell, right hand. Donovan moves in to separate. It's the main event, and finally down goes the bald eagle, and down goes Cattell. And you can bet they're both going to sit for a penalty. And remember, if you'd like to become a pro roller derby skater, write for information on the training center nearest you, care of Training Centers, box 1828. That's Oakland, California, of course, 94604. That's the route to success in this business. Nobody comes up any other way. You go through the training schools. That's how Ronnie Robinson got here. That's how Skopas got here. That's how Weston got here. That's how Hine got here. That's how all the younger skaters got here. You learn from the great ones. In the booth for the Pioneers is Hine. The bald eagle will take a sit for 1 minute. On the other side, Cal Stevens, the Jolter captain, who really has kind of tempered himself a little bit. He's going to sit. 7 1/2 minutes remaining. And joining Stevens will be Jerry Cattell. The Pioneers will skate 4 on 3. Out of moving is John Lala along with Bobby Van Kampen. Neither one of them can move out of the pack. 4 on 3, Pioneers with a 1-man advantage. Robinson connects on Lala. Out of moving now, little Bobby V for the Pioneers as we come up on the 7-minute mark here in period number 4. Buddy Atkinson Sr. will be our halftime guest. Stick around. And a second half coming up all along this great Midwest Pioneer Roller Derby Network. Now Van Kampen uses the rail for leverage. Atkinson yells out instruction. Now Skopas connects. Pioneers 1-point edge. Nothing on the scoreboard either side in this period. Nicky again up with a knee. Van Kampen staggered. His teammate Robinson connected back to help him. He's being hounded by JoJo Stafford. Skopas again. Counting down on jam time as Bobby V is staggered. The youthful Pioneer down on his back. Ooh! Skopas connects with the elbow. And now we got it going on all sides. All skaters. A montage. And look at Stevens move in. Stevens moves in as Hill grabs onto him. And this jam is over. Ronnie Robinson finally got the last lick in on Nick Skopas. The play is over as skaters are scrambled all over the track here in the Civic Center. A little bit more physical in this 12-minute stanza than it was in the second period when the men had their first taste of action. There is Nick Skopas, the former Midwest Pioneer, now with the Jolters. A man who came up the hard way, had some bad injuries in the early 60s, but he's still around and skating even better. Going to work. He was punishing Bobby Van Kampen on that play, and Ronnie Robinson moved in to protect Van Kampen. Then Cal Stevens moved in, and all of a sudden you had skaters all over the bank track here in the Civic Center. Now they're set to regroup. Robinson looks up at the scoreboard. Will he be content to go in with a 2-point margin? I doubt it. That's not the way it works in roller derby. He'd like to open it up. Allow his skaters to have that freedom to move at full pace in the second half. Give them that freedom. Let them play their kind of game. They want to make the Jolters come to them if they can do it. The Jolters, of course, would like to make the Pioneers go into a shell and play defense. Now, the team in the dark jerseys moving out with 2 skaters as Gibson moves in with that windmill from behind. He's got himself a skating edge. He connects on Harris. And now Moore continues for the Jolters. Gibson winds up, yells at Moore. Down he goes with the elbow. Bingo! Down goes that Jolter skater. And the Civic Center wakes up in a hurry. They come to life. This great crowd here in the Civic Center in love with the Pioneers, for that reason in love with roller derby. Now Gibson looks ahead. He's got himself a task. And there you see the task. There's the assignment. Cal Stevens. Up front, Cattell working on Ronnie Robinson. If you can go to work and neutralize Ronnie Robinson, you can hurt the Pioneers. That's tradition. Gibson off with the helmet, but he continues. You can still score points without that helmet. Stevens with the knee, now with the forearm, as Donovan keeps a close watch. Now up front moving is Harris. He goes to work on Ronnie Robinson as you see Gibson crawl on the back track. Up front, Stevens works on Robinson. Here comes Harris again as we count down the jam time. 3, 2, 1, and birdie! And Cal Stevens, taken in by the strategy of Ronnie Robinson, throws off the helmet in disgust. And his teammate Harris was staggered. At the Pioneer turn, his trackside Dr. Andre Deek moves over for a look. Under 4 minutes to play here in the fourth period, the fourth and final period of the first half of play. We got ourselves a dandy. The Pioneers 20, the Jolters 18. It's been non-stop action right from the start of this game. And you can bet it'll continue in the second half, only worse. It's got to get worse out there on that track. These teams are physical. They're after each other. It's got to pick up. Stick around wherever you are around this network. You may be seeing the second half right after this game. You may see it at a later time. Whatever the case may be, stick around. Watch the Pioneers, the Jolters, get a taste of the Bay Bombers, the Chiefs. All the color and excitement of the IRDL, the bank track sport of the 70s, the International Roller Derby League, the cream and the crop of bank track skaters. And there's one of the real cream and the crop men himself. Nick Scopus out and moving. He'll be joined by Billy Hill for the Pioneers. Hill with a glare on his face as he moves around, joins Scopus. Goes to work. Scopus with that experience moves inside and neutralizes Hill. And then the finishing touch is put on by Lala. Now the Jolters with a double threat. Scopus in your picture. He'll be joined momentarily by John Lala. There is the youngster. Cattell up front in the pack. He'll go to work on Ronnie Robinson. Robinson deked out of position, and the Jolters move in on and through. Put the hands on the hips, and as we approach the 2.5 minute mark, Lala and Scopus will get credit. 4 points on that play, the official determination. 4 Jolter points on the play as Chris Ortiz puts up the fingers. So the Jolters have regained the lead as the Pioneers caught short. Scopus continuing that vendetta against his former teammates. And he'll sit for 1 minute as that blow he struck on Ronnie Robinson is going to cost him. Lou Donovan says sit, take a minute. And I'm glad to see Donovan and Ortiz going to work, playing it stern, not letting these guys go too far as we reach the 2 minute mark in number 4. The Jolters on top by 4 at 24-20. There is Scopus, the former Pioneer, and what a great favorite he was, but now he is an enemy. He's in for 1 minute. The Jolters and Pioneers. First man moving out is JoJo Stafford. He sets up with his teammate Moore as the action continues in the pack. There you see Stevens with the elbow on Gibson. And Harris out and moving. Here comes the bald eagle. Bob Hine, the bald eagle, and he begins to whistle. Some type of strategy, no doubt. Atkinson begins to whistle. Up with the hands goes Hine. He's trailed by Stafford. Both men can fly. Ronnie Robinson, they move backside. Stafford, bango! Down he goes. Coming up on the 1 minute mark, Ronnie Robinson up on Stevens. Pioneers on the ball. The lights have been lit up in the Civic Center. The Pioneers get themselves back in this game in a hurry as Bob Hine, utilizing the offensive blocking ability of Ronnie Robinson, a man who was trained by Buddy Atkinson Sr., the coach of this Pioneer team. And what a great coach he is. He'll be with us at halftime to talk about the prospects of the season ahead, what he plans to do, what changes he's looking for. He's stressing spirit. He's stressing speed. He's stressing togetherness. He wants an aggressive team, a team that can come from behind. Something you fans know the Pioneers could not do in previous seasons. It was a team which had an awful tough time coming up with the big play. But with Atkinson, it's a way of life. It's a way of life with B.A. Sr. Buddy knows how to make it happen with the big play. 18 seconds left in number 1. Time for scoring if somebody can move out and fly. Jolters once again, and then this men's period, they've been having good success getting the first men out. Here comes Heinze. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And the jam will continue, of course, as it runs its full complement. At the end of period 4, this jam will run its full complement as Hine has got a chance to continue. About 40 seconds of jam time remaining. Ronnie Robinson up front with Cattell. They set it up. They pick up the pace. In goes Jerry. He's deep out of position. Pioneers on the board. Hine moves in and through. They continue. They continue the quest for points. Here comes Stevens, 360 on the whip. In he goes. Stevens bypassed. Moving by Lala, hands on the hips, the official decision. 2 Midwest Pioneer points on the play. It's halftime in the Civic Center. Stay tuned for the interviews with the score. Headed up, Pioneers 24, Jolters 24. Let's pause for a moment. When you talk about legends on the bank track and in our business, this is one of the first guys you go to. Buddy Atkinson Sr., now coach of the Midwest Pioneers. And Buddy, you and I, of course, have been friends for a long time, but if I can say this, and I think I speak on behalf of all the Pioneer fans in the Midwest and throughout the country for that reason, I am personally pleased to have you as coach of this team, and we look forward to great things out of the Pioneers.
Well, thank you, Chet. I really am happy to be here, and knowing you for a long time, working with you is going to be a pleasure, and I think together we're going to help make this Pioneer team what it should be, a winner and on top at all times.
And I guess we can safely say that your objective with the Pioneers here this season is to win a championship.
That's my big objective. And also to make this team a real colorful team and a happy team together. Now, this team has been accused of not skating together, not being a team, being their own individuals. We are working on this now to make a team out of it, and if you notice the difference, we have a lot of teamwork this evening. This team can explode with 12, 15 points on one jam. They can come out of it. This is what we're working for. They can be explosive at any time because we're working with Robinson, Hines, Johnny Rice, all these skaters, and Larry Smith. And this guy stands out to me as one of the mainstays of this team. Also on the girls' field, we got Joan Weston, who needed a lot of help in the blocking department and helping her out. So we got Big Pineapple I call her. This is Venezuela. And this girl here is 6 foot, well, 5'11", and she weighs 220 pounds and can move on skates. Now, she's going to be a big help to Joni this year.
Buddy, you mentioned something there I thought was very important about the fact that this Pioneer team will be capable of coming up with the big play. This is tradition on Atkinson teams. Your clubs have always, the Chiefs, whoever it's been, have always been capable with coming up with that big play, getting the points when they're necessary. This is how you win those titles.
Well, the whole object of the thing is if you're with the team, you're going to stay with it. And a lot of these coaches that I know nowadays are so busy on the track, they're not seeing what their team's doing. Where I've got an advantage being out here in the infield, I know just what every skater is doing. And I can be on them. And believe me, at halftime, I didn't think too much of the team this first half. I thought we could do a heck of a lot better. We're only tied up at this halftime, which I don't like. And I'm going down after I'm finished with you and get these people on the ball.
Buddy, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Chet.
This is Chet Kopic signing you off now from the Civic Center. Tune in again to Roller Derby.